You're going to sit where the pup is. I think we're live right now. Hello, everybody. Can someone tell me if the sound is on? Hi, Sarah. Can you guys hear us? I never know with this thing. So it's always funny. Should I sing? Should I recite the Gettysburg Address?
No.
Oh, hello. Guess we're a couple minutes early. This is Gigi. Anyone who watched the channel knows Victoria. Can you guys hear us? Sarah? Loud and clear. Perfect. Awesome. We are in San Diego. I don't know how to move this thing. We just got back from Annapolis from the boat show. When? Like a week ago?
Yeah, it was supposed to be Monday, but we got stuck in Vegas.
We got stuck in Vegas overnight. Oh, yep. What's up, Peter? Patreon crew. Annapolis was amazing. So let me backpedal. We're in San Diego right now. I fly back to the boat tomorrow evening. So just about 24 hours from now, roughly. I need to be at the airport and get straight into the refit. But Victoria said she would sit in for a little bit and talk about the boat show. We had a fantastic time. And it was pretty wild. If anybody that's in the watching went to the boat show, will you pop it into the live chat? So we were there. We were in Maryland 5 days.
5 or 6, yeah.
And I think we did the boat show 4 days. Full throttle. That was my first boat show ever.
And DC sounded to us. We're like, sure, that's super close to Annapolis. We'll just drive every day because my sister let us stay with her for free, which was super nice.
Yeah.
But by the 4th day, we're like, no, DC is not that close to
Annapolis. It was like an hour drive from DC to Annapolis each way. There wasn't even really any traffic. No. It was just the distance. But still, we couldn't have afforded to stay in a hotel in Annapolis. So it worked out perfect. And you get to see family and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really good time. Full throttle, though.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then the chaos of the boat show. Like the first full day at the boat show, I almost lost my voice from speaking so much. So, but it was like my buddy Andy from Sailing Soleil was there. He was at the YouTuber booth also. So it's fun to catch up with him and Misty, his wife Misty. He has a video episode of the boat show that I'll post later on. It's processing. Oh, Andy's on the chat right now. So his video is processing, but we'll share that in the chat and put it down below here in a little bit. I didn't really film an episode. I filmed the sail on the schooner and some bits and pieces, but it was just like so full throttle with I had an appearance at the Latitudes and Attitudes party. I had an appearance at the Hydrovane booth. I had 2 different appearances at the YouTubers booth. And then the sail.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot, but super fun. Like I would go again in a heartbeat. Like really, really enjoyable to meet everyone that we met and hang out, and got to see a bunch of my old friends, made a bunch of new friends. Got to hang out with Andy, Shell, and Mia at the 59 North booth. We hung out with them a ton. And then the last night we went to their place. They had an Airbnb. Hung out with them, Ryan and Sophie from Ryan and Sophie Sailing. And then another Ryan, who's also an investor of 59 North, was there. And the whole sort of like inner crew of the 59 North organization was there at this dinner after. And that was really nice. We also went to the J World Annapolis There was a fundraiser for Matt Rutherford for the Ocean Research Project. I think that's the name of his organization.
Mm-hmm.
And got to tour Matt Rutherford's insane boat.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
What was the highlights of the boat?
I mean, it was just like a monster, like a huge boat. And they were like, oh, check this out. And in one of the heads, they had a little pop-out drawer with hot rock. So you could turn the head into a sauna. That was pretty
super cool. Big steel thing.
Yeah. And they had a bunch of the crew, volunteer crew were on board, just helping, with people who are looking around and asking questions. And they said at night, just like, it's hard to describe that sound of all the ice chunks scraping along the side of the hull.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was just really cool.
It was really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And met some cool people at that party.
Mm-hmm.
And just as always, like, I'll try to get to the chat in a minute when we kind of run through some of the Yammer. So if you're asking questions in the chat, you'll have to come back to it later. And Sarah's in the chat. So if you see Sarah posting anything, she speaks for me. So what else, Annapolis? Victoria grew up, like, her grandparents lived on the eastern shore of Maryland. So we went to, like, over there for one day, and you grew up sailing over on that side. And I had blue crab for the first time.
We went to the restaurant where my mom worked when she was 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was really cool.
So on our off day, we did a road trip.
Yeah.
It's kind of the theme of the trip.
Yeah. Oh, and the first day that we first like literally stepped off the plane, we got coffee with my older brother, David, who, if you've followed the channel for a while, he's been an important member of the shore team for a long time. He's moving, him and his wife, Kyung-ah, my sister-in-law, they just moved to London. So they moved to London the second day we got there. So we got coffee with them 2 days in a row, and then they moved to London. So it's good to see him off. I don't know when the next time I'll see him. So that was good. Daphne's on here. Hello, Daphne. What else about Annapolis?
It was just super cool. Like the networking, meeting people. Like I met one of James's best friends, which was great to finally meet Noah. And it turns out we've got 3 or 4 mutual friends here in the sailing community in San Diego and Southern California. And it's just really cool to always make connections. I always enjoy these networking events, even though I get personally pretty zapped pretty fast. But it was really fun. I just enjoyed, making some new friends.
Yeah. So yeah, Captain Noah Peffer, who's like a dear, dear friend of mine. And he's one of the 2 people that was texting me when I lost my rudder, explaining to me how to steer by drug via text message. Him and his wife drove down from Maine to see us and hang out, and we had a great visit with Noah. That dude's a genius, super funny, really great to see Noah again. Trying to think of who else. We met a really cool couple named Corey and Corey, who just started their cruising life. And so they got anchorage there in Annapolis, and we hung out with them a day. We got to see Daphne, who's in the chat. We just had dinner with Daphne last night here in San Diego. She just drove across country. We flew and she drove.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
It was just like jam-packed.
Yeah, it was cool. But if you ever get to go to the boat show, definitely do it. Really interesting. It was funny last night. I think it was at dinner last night. I was talking. I was like, oh, you know what? Like, I didn't look at one product.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like hanging out and chatting with people. I didn't step on one boat anywhere in the boat show. Didn't look at a single boat, and I didn't look at I don't have any money to buy anything anyway. So
that helps.
But yeah, I didn't look at any products, which is super funny.
I had fun playing with the anchor demo.
Oh yeah. At
the Mantis booth.
No, I think was it Mantis or was it Rockna or one of those anyway. Oh, and we got to hang out with Will and Sarah of Hydrovane a few times, so that was nice. And got to meet David, for the editor for Latitudes and Attitudes. Hung out with him some. Super great dude. That's the first time I met him in person. And got to meet Mike from Scanmar. So Scanmar Pelagic Autopilots is sponsoring Triteia with a new autopilot. So my little janky Raymarine autopilots that constantly fail. Those are going to be gone. And Pelagic is sending me a whole new setup. He showed me all the different stuff. And so I'm super stoked about that. I know Sam Holmes always complained about how loud they were, but after having to hand steer for 17 hours, 77 miles off the north coast of Java, I'm like, I'll listen to any noise as long as I don't have to hand steer. So I'm looking forward to that. Oh, Ryan's on here too. And so also, like, we got everything sorted with the new Dakota batteries. I just got the shipping invoice. So 2 new Dakota batteries and a new DC to DC have been shipped and should be arriving to Langkawi pretty soon after I get there. So upgrading the battery bank, the damaged batteries that got damaged from the lightning. We're going from, I had 2 200 amp hour batteries, and now I'm going to have 2 320 amp hour batteries per piece. So going up to 640 amp hours for the house bank. So that's exciting. Super stoked. I went several months without a galley at all. So,
well, you still have to get that sorted.
Yeah. Yeah. But once the batteries are there, then it's just a matter of hooking them up. Do you guys have any? Oh, hi, Samantha. Do you guys have any questions about the boat show? Oh, Corey and Corey say hello. Still hanging in Annapolis. Hi, Corey's. Anyone? Bueller. You guys got any questions about the boat show?
Nope.
Womp womp. Maybe that thing's time delayed or something. Let me see here.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, Bob's on here too. Hi, Bob. I hope you like the books that you bought. Someone said, "Where will you go again?" What was the highlight for the boat show? Seeing all my friends. It was so nice because, like, me and Ryan and Sophie have been corresponding since before I left to sail to Hawaii, and I'd never gotten to meet either one of them in person. And Ryan also owns Dakota Lithium, so like they've been huge, like, support network for me through the whole thing, all the way through since I've been cruising. So it was super nice to get to meet Ryan and Sophie finally in person. And like Andy's wife, Mia, me and Mia had been like corresponding, exchanging emails since 2015.
I couldn't believe you guys had.
And I had never met Mia. So it was like super fun to meet Mia finally, and then get to hang out with Andy and see Andy's dad and a bunch of the 59 North crew. Yeah, it was cool. And then I met a ton of people that I hadn't been corresponding with. So just like getting to meet everyone and getting to see Noah, that was like the highlight for me for sure. Oh, Ryan and Sophie, look at that. They're in there.
Hi, Ryan. Hey, Sophie.
Oh, Colin, what up, Colin? That's also my buddy. Colin was there.
Hey, Colin.
Colin also got a sponsorship with Scanmar. Congrats on that, Colin. Colin's got his West Cell 32 that he's starting the refit on in one of the Carolinas. What else? Sophie said, I heard your voice through Ryan's phone and just had to pop on and say hi. Says, how did the boat show affect your perspective on the rest of your adventure, if at all? You know what it did? It didn't really affect my perspective on the sailing, but it's super good to like recharge that soul battery, and like it's like a hyper concentration of community to where you're like, it makes you feel less lonely. So like, you know, when I get back out and I'm alone, like most of next year, I'm going to be alone all across the Indian Ocean. So like to know that like all the love and the community, it's like a supercharge to the battery. So that was a super, super nice. What else?
I see you, Sophie. I'm thinking about it. I really liked Annapolis, and both my sisters are on the East Coast. So while the whole time I was there, I was like, I'm gonna move to Annapolis, but probably wait till after the winter. I'm a soft San Diegan.
When it doesn't, it's not as cold. Someone said, after the circumnavigation, are you going to continue to sail outside the U.S.? Yeah, I don't ever plan on repatriating to the U.S. There's so many places that I'm not going to see on this first circumnavigation. It'll just be an open wander after that, which will be kind of more freeing for sure. Sophie said, send us Victoria while you're alone at sea. Okay. Colin said, I was betrayed by my brother, Michael. Who's your favorite family member and why? Who's my favorite family member? Probably my mom. She's dead, though. That's the easy way out. Then I don't get in trouble. What else? Someone said, are you still coming to South Africa? Yes, for sure. Yeah. And that's the thing is like, hopefully it's all mellowed out, but I have friends that just cleared out of Madagascar a few days ago. And with the coup happening, I've been watching that close because, yeah, we'll see. If the situation's unstable, less than a year from now, well, in August, I'm supposed to sail to I'll be in Madagascar unless the situation is like unstable. Noonsight just posted a thing today saying that some people are having to wait weeks to get cleared out because now the government's in total chaos. So, I mean, if it was me and I was there and it was going off, I would just leave and then just, try to explain it to the South African officials and be like, what am I supposed to do? It was a coup, but I don't know. It's like, I know dealing with like officials in Southeast Asia, they can make your life absolute hell if they want to. So, yeah. Someone's asking if I'm going to go to the island, which no one's allowed to go to. So, yeah, I'm going to say I'm not going to do that. Daphne saying still worth going for the optical calcite. So, yeah, I'll sneak aboard.
I'm hoping we can make it because I was really looking forward to the lemurs. And that was our plan.
That's the plan is that the plan next year is I'll leave. Well, Victoria's coming December 20th to Phuket, and we're going to cruise Thailand. She'll be there almost 3 weeks. And then right after she leaves, I'll leave the last week of January, first week of February to sail to the Maldives, Chagos, Mauritius, Reunion, and then Madagascar was the plan. And then she was going to fly in August to Madagascar, and we were going to spend about a month cruising Madagascar. But now, who knows what's going to happen with that. But that's like the highlight for me next year. So, and then from there, South Africa. You have to be in South Africa by the first week of February. There's a lot of boats that are late this season, but the beginning of October, you need to be in South Africa because that's to get out of the cyclone season. It gets very dangerous. Someone said, did you meet any other Alburgers? That sounds like some kind of like a German main dish. At the boat show, there are tons of them in the area. I've gone sailing with the Alberg 30 Association in Annapolis before, so I definitely know some people that have Albergs in that zone. And we saw a bunch.
Yeah, we saw one at a maritime museum. We saw one at in a boatyard.
Mm-hmm.
We saw more than a couple. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone said, where's your sense of adventure? My sense of adventure doesn't involve foreign prisons, I assure you.
Nobody encourage him, please. It's fine. His sense of adventure seems healthy to me.
Someone said Maldives are closed. No, Maldives are not closed. I was talking about Madagascar. What else? What preparations do you have to leave for your boat for this long? What did you leave your boat? Wait, what preparations did you do to leave your boat for this long time? I've only been gone 6 weeks, so I haven't been gone long. So nothing. I mean, I closed all the seacocks. That was kind of it. Most of the stuff on the boat's broken anyway.
It was already off.
Yeah, everything was already toasted. I'm going to get into here in a minute. I'm going to pull up the bag of all the parts and show you everything I'm taking back with me. Sophie asked if I feel like a YouTube star at the Annapolis Boat Show. Actually, I feel more like a YouTube star when I go to Ventura. A lot of people recognize me in Ventura. I mean, we met a lot of people just walking around, but there are definitely like some big. That's funny because there were some big channels at the YouTuber booth I've never heard of, but I don't really watch YouTube because I'm out cruising. But there was some strange like spear gun channel I literally never heard of until we showed up. But apparently, a lot of other people have because they have like millions of followers. But yeah. Let me see. When you're cruising, do you enjoy the journey or the destination? I love solo ocean sailing, but I'm interested in seeing places. So for me, it's about visiting different countries by sail. Like that's why so many people have asked me if I would do the OGR, like the solo nonstop sail around the world. And it never has made sense to me. I'm like, why would you miss all the magic just to say that you went in a loop? I don't understand it. It makes zero sense to me. The whole purpose of like fighting your way across oceans in a small boat for me is like the landfalls and getting to see these amazing places and the different cultures and stunning, beauty and to travel to places you can only get to by boat, small coves and anchorages. So yeah, I'm not a competitive person, so maybe you have to be a competitive person to understand why people would sell on a big loop for 9 months for no reason, but that's not me. Someone said, James, the Seychelles are just surreal beauty. Can we coax you to go there? It's kind of on the way. Seychelles charge like $90 a day or something crazy for you to anchor. No, that's a hard no. I don't pay to anchor. That is bonkers. It is absurdly expensive, and it's not on the way if I want to go to Mauritius. And if I sail from Chagos to Mauritius, then I can hit Mauritius and Reunion, and then I have a really good point of sail to the North Cape of Madagascar. So Seychelles, I don't think will be that different than the Tuamotus or the Maldives for that matter. Someone said, are you taking batteries back with you? No, they shipped them for me, thankfully. Colin asked about refit. Yeah, we're going to talk about the refit in a little bit. Let me see here.
Silly Seychelles.
Yeah, silly Seychelles indeed. And then Sophie's asking, you'll read that one out loud.
I heard there's some great anchorages in Annapolis. Any plans on cruising the exotic waters of the Chesapeake? Yeah, Gigi and I might be there soon. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
He's busy for a bit.
I'm busy for a bit. My boat's very slow. What else? Any more questions about Annapolis? Nope. You guys want to see what I bought? Yeah, I'll show you the parts now. Do you mind chilling with me or no?
Okay.
What are you drinking? Tell the people.
I'm having a bullet bourbon and water on ice.
Andy's of Sailing Soleil, are you still on? Has your video stopped processing yet? Andy put up, he made a whole video for the Annapolis Boat Show. But it's like processing on YouTube. So we're waiting for it to finish processing so we can share it in the link. I think you're on that video. At least you're on the cover.
Cheers.
Anyway. Someone said, any electric boats at the boat show? I don't know. I don't believe in electric boats unless they're coastal. What else? Thank you for the kind comment, Blue Water Baboon. That's a funny name. James, is the refit funded adequately? None of my business, but you can understand the question, I think. The refit will be as extensive as I can afford to make it. That's kind of all I can hope for. it's funny, like for years, I always thought when I would get to Malaysia, it was like really cheap labor, really cheap marinas, cheap fabrication. Not that everything was dirt cheap. That's not the case at all. It is not that cheap. Thailand's even more expensive. I always thought those places were insanely cheap. It is so not. Like Thailand's marinas cost more than the marinas in New Zealand. Actually, so do the marinas in Malaysia cost more than marinas in New Zealand. So, like I wanted to have the bottom like soda blasted or stripped down to the gel coat. I always had planned on doing that when I got to Southeast Asia because I thought it could be done affordably. I got a quote to do that at the cheapest boatyard in Langkawi, and they wanted $1,000 just to like strip the bottom, which was like way more. Thank you, Colin. Way more than I thought it would be. And then I had always been under the understanding that it cost about $250 to get your chain regalvanized. So I was always like, okay, when I get to Malaysia, I'll get the chain regalvanized. Well, I got a quote right before I left because I was just going to leave my chain and anchor and get it regalvanized while I was gone. The quote came back to be $750 to regalvanize my chain, which is like more than
you get a new chain, right?
Yeah, but then it was like more than half of what it cost. And I bought that chain 4 years ago, brand new, top of the line, highest quality chain I could get. And it was like, I think the chain and the anchor back then was like $2,000 all in for everything. But I was really shocked that it was $500 more than I expected. So now I might look at getting anchor chain in Phuket at this place. Some of the cruisers in Reebok actually suggested they're like you're better off buying new chain. It's like a high quality like place. So I might have to just buy new chain because it's cheaper than getting my chain regalvanized, which is a bummer. But so yeah. So then, at this point, like I'll do what I can, but you can't. Yeah, it's like I don't have any money trees. I don't think they're allowed in Malaysia. So let's look at, somebody's asking about the engine. I'll do that part real quick. All kinds of goodies. So I got a new lift pump for the engine. It's so funny. I thought this thing was going to be like $100 or $200. It was $24. This might solve most of my engine trouble. We'll see. I also got a whole box of crush washers. So like my secondary fuel filter has been like leaking diesel from the bleed screw because I didn't have crush washers. I couldn't find crush washers in Australia. I looked at multiple places and everyone's like, these copper ones are just fine, but none of them worked. They all weren't proper crush washers. They were just copper. So I got a whole different size kit of crush washers, which is great. That's good. So the other thing I'm going to do with the engine is replace. I still have, when I get back to Malaysia, I have to get the braided fuel line replaced from Myanmar, but that's like Myanmar specific. I'm going to replace all of the fuel send line for the entire engine and see if I can just eliminate any kind of air introduction problem. And then hope for the best. The other thing I'm going to do is before I leave Southeast Asia, I'm going to go ahead and buy an outboard mount for the back just in case, if I get in the middle of, to the Maldives or I get to Chagos and my engine's toasted. Then I'll be able to mount the outboard on the back and get me in and out of dangerous spots at least. And I'll just make sure that I have like a full thing of petrol so that there's fuel for it. But so that's the plan with the engine. I got my whole set of flags for the Indian Ocean.
Which one's the one that's the gnarly one?
Mozambique has no chill. You want to dig through there and find it?
Yeah.
It has zero chill, the Mozambican flag. So I got those. Got small.
I found it.
Oh, she found it. It's got like an Kalishnikov on the. I got small scale charts for the Indian Ocean. We got the northern and southern. Is that what we got?
Yeah.
Yeah, the northern and southern. So full paper charts for the Indian Ocean. Admiralty charts, the best. Got a new Hydrovane cover from Hydrovane. Super stoked. I got my new ship's paper. So my document, this is kind of interesting, actually. I've been gone so long that my documentation expired. I didn't even know it expired. It was coming up to expire. I know they lasted 5 years, but I just lost track of time. And the guy that cleared me out in Borneo was like, hey, did you know your documentation has expired? I was like, what? He was like, I don't care because I'm clearing you out. He was like, but if we are clearing you in, we probably wouldn't let you come in. I was like, whoa. So I went ahead and got online and got that sorted. So that's all up to date now. I got some used blocks. So replace all of my main sheet blocks. So I got all my main sheet blocks. Oh, this is my bang. Where's the other one? Oh, here's the other one. I was like, I thought I'd forgot one. So here's my main sheet blocks. Stoked on that. This pair cost $55 at Minis, and this one cost $36. They're super nice. And then I got a new replacement for my Vang. My Vang exploded recently, so that's good. I got another passive GPS puck for my AAS. So hopefully this works with my AAS, and then I can take my other puck back for my tracker. Because right now my tracker I've been having to update manually because I've been using the puck from it for my AAS. How about this as a backup? Hopefully I can get my AAS working the way it's supposed to work with its proper installed antenna. But just in case, I got this. Low friction rings. Always good to have on board. And when I was in Singapore, my buddy Jonathan, who I sailed with to Greenland and Iceland, he gave me his old drone. Uh-oh. Oopsie. He gave me his old drone. I can't remember what it is, like a mini
DJI 3
mini
Pro, I think.
Something. Yeah. But he had this and the remote was toasted. He had like overcharged it and damaged the remote. So he had bought just a whole new one and gave me this. So I bought a remote. And then we got it here. When the remote came in, we went to fly it and it said it was still bound to his account, and it let us fly it once, but then it was like, you only get one flight and then you can't fly it again. So we did a flight. And the other thing is, like, San Diego is geofenced almost the whole city. So where did we go? The Coronado Keys. We had to drive like almost to Mexico to fly it. And then the next time, then I texted him and was like, hey, it says it's still bound to your account. And he did a thing. He's like, okay, it's unbound. So then we went to one of the other spots. What was that place called?
Fiesta Island.
Fiesta Island. There's another little pocket where you can fly drones. And it said it was still bound to his account. And I screen grabbed what it said on the screen and then sent it to him. And he was like, oh, it's bound to my mother-in-law's account. Well, his mother-in-law lives in China. And
the plot thickened.
Yeah. And so he was trying to explain it to her in Mandarin, how to unbind it. She couldn't quite figure it out. So he's like, oh, I'm going to see her in Korea in a few weeks. And so it was a whole thing. And then he sent me a form. So then we filled out a form through DJI. And this was all before the boat show. So I filled out a form where they were supposed to request with him that it was okay to unbind it. And then he never got a request. So like a week and a half went by. Then he texted me and was like, oh, I'm so sorry. This has been such a nightmare. So I just tried to turn it on here in the house, even though we couldn't fly it because we're in like a no-fly zone. And yesterday it was unbound.
It finally worked.
Yeah, so we were stoked. I don't know. They just unbound it. But if you're buying like a DJI drone secondhand, it's a real possibility that you can't use it. So real spooky. I didn't know any of that. And then we went to La Jolla yesterday and we saw probably 70 sharks or something like that. It was so crazy. Like the leopard sharks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to show everyone just really quick. Just a screenshot.
Look at that.
It was so cool.
Those are all sharks.
It was amazing.
It was super cool.
I had the best day.
Yeah. So I had taught Victoria how to fly it, and she just had a blast. And that was in La Jolla. Really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So really needed this for Langkawi and Thailand for sure. So thank you, Jonathan. Super stoked. All right. I think we'll pop over to the chat, see what's happening. Ryan and Sophie asked if I would consider electric outboard. Yeah, I dig electric outboards. I think it's good to have both. Like Andy and them had that electric outboard on Falcon, and it's so nice because it's so light. So like if you get somewhere and you just want to hop in, for long distance, I would still want like a petrol outboard. But yeah, I think electric outboards are rad because they're so lightweight, especially if you had 2 batteries and you could keep them charged. But I really enjoyed that one that they had for Falcon. It was pretty cool. Someone said, where did you get the chart and the flags? The chart, Corey, I got the chart at this really cool place. If you guys are still you said you're still in Annapolis, you guys should go there. Called we'll text you what it is, but it's called Maryland Nautical or something like that.
I don't think it's on here.
It's in Baltimore, and it's awesome. It's like one of the most extensive, and they printed it on demand. It took like 5. We were on our way to the airport, and I just popped in. I'd actually stopped there in 2023. Andy Shell from 59 North had me stop there to get all the charts for Greenland and the cruising guide for Greenland and all this crazy stuff. So I had stopped there and got all that stuff. So I knew it was like top of the line, crazy. Like they supply all the charts for all the cargo ships and stuff, and all the military charts. So that place is rad. What was the other thing he asked? Oh, the flags, yachtflags.com is where I order all my flags. Not sponsored by them. I pay full price for the flags, but they have sort of the best, most reliable flags. And I would say, which I was always broke before I left, so I couldn't have done it. But if you can manage to just order the circumnavigation set before you leave your home country, that's your best bet. Because once you get out in the wild, there's no way to get flags. That's why I'm glad I got this set. And then as I get to Africa, then I'm going to have to order the next set. But it all comes down to finances. So let me see here. Someone says, will you be able to use Iridium Go through the Indian Ocean? Will that be sufficient? Yes. Yeah. I'll just I don't believe in Starlink on ocean passages. So I'll be using the Iridium Go across the entire Indian Ocean. And then when I get to the Maldives, I'll turn on my Starlink. So I have it when I'm in cruising grounds, but all of the tracker updates and my basic communication will all be Iridium Go for the ocean passages for the Indian Ocean. Someone asked if I'd consider going to other oceans like the Indian or Atlantic. Yeah, I'm circumnavigating. So next year is the Indian Ocean and then followed by the Atlantic. What is my opinion on a Tartan 30? Do you think it could sail around the world like Triteia? Yeah, I mean, it's do those Tartan 30s have a lifting centerboard? That would be my only sort of concern. But the reality is I even just bought a book of this dude in the early 1900s after Slocum. He sailed around the world in a canoe that had 3 masts and it was topped with wood. So you can, depending on how tough you are, you can sail around the world in a variety of different crafts, but it just depends on how tough you are and how much misery you are willing to put up with. Someone asked, did I get a backup electric autopilot? Yeah, I mentioned it a little earlier. I'm going to be installing a pelagic autopilot from Scanmar. So someone says, why not on passing? Is that in reference to Starlink? I don't think anyone should have full internet at sea because it removes the spirituality of the whole thing. That I can think of no greater hell than being out in the majesty of the ocean and doom scrolling. So I think that everyone should disconnect and do an ocean passage where you're fully it's Iridium Go is all you really need. You can, as long as it works, I should say that, especially Ryan's on here. Me and Ryan and Sophie have all had Iridium Go's brick, but as long as it works, All you need is weather and basic communications with your core loved ones. Other than that, it's like good for the mind to completely disconnect and just like get into the ocean, get into the whole thing. I think people are robbing themselves of an experience doing ocean crossings with full internet. What else?
Colin asked up here.
What'd you say, Colin? What spare rigging parts do you bring? Cruising, spare wire, or Dyneema? Do you have a plan to place for rigging failure? Yeah, so I carry about 30 feet of spare stainless steel cable that I could use, and I have a ton, like a whole massive bag of the U bolts that with the two nuts, so that you can screw them together. So I could splice pieces with mechanical U bolts. So yeah, I keep a whole spool of extra. Was it like 1x19 or whatever it is? The stainless cable. I have 1/4 inch on all of my rigging. All of my standing rigging is the same gauge, so that's good because that could work anywhere. Another thing that I heard about some other cruisers did. So this young couple, I think they're American couple. I met them in New Zealand. They were in the Tuamotus, and they had one of their lowers parted on like a really minimal sail, and like they didn't lose their rig, but it had parted. But what they did was they had all Dyneema lifelines. So they took their Dyneema lifelines off and re-rigged it as a stay. And I was like, that is so smart. Like, to think about all your Dyneema lifelines are essentially like an emergency stay for anything on the boat, as long as it's long enough. So I thought that was a really cool thing to keep in mind. But yeah, that's what I keep for spare standing rigging. What else? Oh, looks like Sarah's.
Dang, she was on it before I could even
She
see
is
what
on
it was.
Sarah's good at this. She's got some experience. Out in the open ocean, no longer sailboats risk than you 30-foot be the best length. It says out in the open ocean, are longer sailboats at bigger risk than you on a 30-foot? What would be the best length for ocean crossing? No, I don't. At risk for what? I guess that's where I need to frame the question. Like, say a 40-foot boat is a much faster boat. So in some ways, they're actually safer due to the fact that they can make ocean passages faster than I can. I don't think, for me, Triteia is a blue water boat. She has a full keel with a cutaway 4-foot. So she takes the seas in a beautiful way. Now I've like delivered 45-foot DeFores that cost like over $250,000. And it sounded like you were in a snare drum when we were beating into the seas. And it sounded like the boat was going to break apart. So that stuff adds up. Fatigue, the stress of it, the stress on the boat, where Triteia is really quiet and cuts through. You know, if you get any boat that's full keel, you know, Passport 40s, Babas, Halbergrassis, any of these boats with a full keel, they're going to have like a lot less stress on them sailing in the ocean, regardless of the size. So it really depends on that. But boat size, the bigger the boat, the faster the boat. So in some ways, you can think about it that way as far as like time at sea. You're going to be able to get out of the way of storms quicker. Someone said, how much do I spend a year on fuel? I'm not sure. I probably have the amount of fuel that I used last year. I mean, normally I don't have to motor much. Last year was like a painful experience. I had to motor. I think the engine hours last year were 440 hours. And then I motored another 1,000 miles this year. So, but my engine only drinks like 1/4 gallon an hour. So not that much fuel. What else? How did we meet? Victoria, that's your cue.
James says I stumbled into his DMs.
She definitely stumbled into my DMs.
Yeah, I was just an Instagram follower.
But how did you find me from Instagram?
Because I follow Holly Martin, Wind Hippie Sailing. She's like the only person I'm a Patreon of. I followed her journey for a number of years now. So I think when she ran across James in the wild in Fiji, I just started following him there. And I'm not much of a YouTube sailing channel connoisseur, you know, like I don't know a bunch of channels, but more like the Instagram world. So then I just started following him on Instagram, and I've got to thank Gigi for this one.
That's true.
He saw some pictures of Gigi on my feed, and he was like, "That's a cute dog," because she is a cute dog.
Gigi, anyone doesn't know, she's not been on YouTube, so she's paralyzed. This part doesn't work. She got hit by a car when she was a little girl in Mexico. She has a wheelchair. That's how she gets around.
She's cute.
And Victoria adopted her. There's an organization called the Animal Pad here in San Diego that takes dogs that are unsavable or unadoptable, that they're just going to get euthanized, and they try to find them homes. Victoria she's cared for, now this is your third.
My fourth Chihuahua, rescue Chihuahua.
Rescue Chihuahua.
I'm really bad at fostering.
Yeah. She fosters, and then they end up just living with her. But
so anyway, that's how we met. And then when he got stuck in Indonesia for the wet season and didn't make it all the way through, he decided to come home to California and recharge.
That's why I did the book tour, speaking tour in the spring.
And he asked me if I'd want to go grab coffee. And I said, yep. And then my friends were playing I have really cool friends in a really cool punk band in San Diego, and they were playing their record release show.
Which Face?
They're rad. Anyway, then he came, we had a really good time.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kept hanging out when he was in California.
Yeah.
And I love him.
And it's been that way since the moment we met, pretty much.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Someone said, do you ever worry about going overboard when solo sailing? Do you have rope trailing just in case? Any other ways to recover the fall? Yes, I mean, constantly. Solo sailing, there's little more dangerous than solo sailing. You are always inches away from death. I don't trail a line. I did in Hawaii after the rudder failed. I trailed a line for a few days because I was like so shook mentally. But the key is I always clip in if there's conditions or anything but dead calm when I go forward. So I just always clip in when I go forward. The best policy is just to not fall off. I almost fell off once when Rhonda was on board, but I was tethered on, but I got pitched over the boat when I was trying to like clip in the whisker pole. That's the closest I've ever come to falling overboard, but yeah, so it's always a concern. Always.
Oh, Sarah, you better delete McChef 1's comment.
You can't give it in or get a catamaran. I will never own a catamaran in a billion years. The only time I would be interested in sailing a catamaran, would be a Warham to do the race to Alaska. But I am a monohull sailor till the day I die. I have zero interest in multi-hulls.
They are quite spacious. They're nice. But I'm with James.
They are the ugliest things I've ever seen in my life. I love beautiful things. On Triteia, what is your most prized and preferred improvement or modification? The hard Dodger, hands down. Colin said, we should do race to Alaska on my Triton. We should have. If you want to place in the race to Alaska, you need a multi-hull though. And the Warhams are so cool. They're like hand sewn together. And they just look like someone pulled them out of the bottom of a river and just started sailing. I like Warhams. They're cool. Is Victoria ever going to go sailing with you? She's going to cruise with me for 3 weeks in Thailand. She's going to cruise with me in Madagascar. And that's as far
permitting.
Yeah, coup permitting. And that's as far as we planned, because like with my life, I'm like, okay, well, I know what's happening next year. Beyond that, I can't, but yeah, anytime. Well, she has a job, like a career and a pup and a home. So, that kind of stuff prevents her from.
And for my part, I'm quite happy to let James, I feel like he embarked on a solo adventure, and I'm quite happy to let him finish that solo adventure and pop out and say hi. And then, but yeah, after 2028 or whatever.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then also Victoria goes on her own adventures. Like she was cruising in Croatia in July of this year on a friend's boat. She did an Atlantic crossing a few years ago. She cruised in Fiji last year. So she does a lot of her cruising on other people's boats. Yeah. And she's been sailing like 100 times longer than I have.
And being in a long distance relationship is so much better than being on Tinder in your 40s. So.
That's going to make
we can do it, baby.
That'll make
2 years.
Sophie
no
laugh.
problem.
Okay, let's see here. Someone said, "Is Worm not a cat?" I said I would only race a cat on the race to Alaska. I wouldn't buy a cat to have full time. Relax, everyone. And I would do it with a crew. I wouldn't do it solo.
Relax, everyone.
What else? What is my absolute favorite book? Sailing related favorite book?
That's a good question.
I think the one that always comes back in my head. I'll give you my top 3. Number 1, Men Against the Sea, about Captain Bligh and his men. Every time I read that book, it stresses me out, even though I know everything that's going to happen. It's amazing. Number 2 is Logs from the Sea of Cortez by Steinbeck and Ed Ricketts. Number 3 would probably be Seawolf by Jack London. But I could keep going. I have like 30 books. Actually, half my backpack is full of books I'm taking out. And poor Victoria has a bunch of my books. I asked her to keep here too. What else? Oh, yeah. Oh, while we're talking about Holly, did you guys see Holly has suffered a severe concussion and had to pause her YouTube channel? She was sailing with crew on a boat in Greenland, and someone, maybe I shouldn't say that. Her patron, if you join her Patreon, she talks about what happened. But Holly suffered a severe concussion and can't read. She can't edit.
Video. Yeah.
I texted her yesterday to check on her, and she didn't text me back. She had to send a voice note back and was like, "Please send me a voice note. I want to know all about Annapolis." Breaks my heart. It's like really upsetting and terrifying. She paused her Patreon because she can't make content right now. So it's super scary. Like Victoria said, she's a patron of Holly, so we were able to go on her Patreon and see what was happening. But
just head injuries are no joke at sea too. Like
and they were in Prince Christian Sound that we sailed through. So heartbreaking. It's like really, really upsetting.
But she's doing the right thing by taking time.
For sure.
Yeah.
Andy, did your video stop processing? If it did, please share it in the comments. What else? Said, how can you support? Go to Holly, go to her page. I think she has that's the other thing. She hasn't been to the doctor because she doesn't have health insurance, and America is insane. So she has she could have fluid on the brain. Who knows? It's just like so tragic. But she has a PayPal that she's accepting donations. Holly's like such a stand-up. She didn't do like a big GoFundMe or like some big pity party. She did it real quietly. I don't even think she talked about it on Instagram. It was suggested to me on YouTube when I was looking at something else. And I was like, what in the world? So then I messaged her. But yeah, if you go to Wind Hippie Sailing, you can find a link to her PayPal if you want to help her. It's like so upsetting. Yeah, Sarah, will you post Holly's YouTube account? That would be awesome. Someone said, I got caught at anchor within a protected area in Croatia, $120 fee. Lads were buzzing around in a rib collecting fees. Wow.
Yeah, Croatia, I gotta say, was I hadn't cruised it before, but I'd visited as a tourist on land, and that was probably, I don't know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, right before the pandemic. But it is much more expensive. And then I read a lot of things before going cruising this summer. Like they just really, probably rightly in some ways, like really started regulating. Like it's such a beautiful coast, but like we anchored in 2 different spots near town, where it was like there was almost no way to get ashore. because they were all like roped off swim zones in the on season for like the hotels. And so like maybe if you wanted to like shoot for that rocky outcrop and like swim a little bit or something, but it was like actually difficult to get ashore in a couple of places. And yeah, I mean, not going to discourage anyone from going at all, but definitely do your research, because I feel like the last year is like there's a lot of new regulations.
And they went to one anchorage that was like stunningly beautiful. They were going to shore tie in, and it was full of wasps, right?
Oh yeah, that was another thing.
And so they couldn't even stay there. They had to leave.
Well, we would have just dealt with it, but one of the captain has like a full-on bee allergy, like EpiPen situation, and she was like, "No, it's fine." And I was like, "No, let's not do that. Let's go."
Yeah.
Yeah. Croatia was gorgeous though, and Montenegro too. The Bay of Kotor was.
Yeah, you were stoked there, right?
Chef's kiss, yes, but pricey. I mean, whatever. It's Europe.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
But Sophie and Ryan and Sophie, are you guys still in the chat? You guys, because Sophie was like really trying to sell me on the med. They had a lot of good things to say about it. And then Will and Sarah too, they said that Greece and Turkey were like crazy cheap. Like the cheapest places that they had been, something like $12 a week or something,
and gorgeous
for moorings or med. I don't know. But yeah, so there are places. I'd always thought it was crazy expensive until Will and Sarah were saying no, like Greece and Turkey were crazy cheap and stunningly beautiful. But I'm not going to the med for a long time, so
we're gonna go to the med someday.
Yeah, we'll go to the med later. What else? Thank you, Zach, for posting Holly's thing. Oh, there we go. So yeah, everybody, if y'all want to go over and check out, help Holly out. Super sad. What else? Let's see here. I'm going to see if Sarah, will you see if that link that says Andy's Annapolis thing, if you click it and see if it is done processing, we can share it with people. Okay, my brother's going to make a crossing from Florida to the Bahamas. I worry about him. I'd love to hear about any groups from you to check out or chat. Did you cross the Bahamas, or did you just go to the Bahamas?
I did the Exumas, and then I just did the Exumas. But I will say, not to sound like an elder millennial or whatever, but like Facebook, that it's the most valuable thing that I found for networking, asking questions, finding really specific groups, like from this part of Florida to the Bahamas motor yacht like group, So I just recommend checking out Facebook for sure.
Yeah, Facebook groups, they kind of have it. I don't have the Facebook, but for sailing, it seems like a lot of information. It's either that or like private WhatsApp groups.
Yeah.
But those are really hard to come across unless you meet someone that adds you to the group. Someone said, when they make a movie from your book, who do you want to play you? Oh, I want the midget from Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. I want the midget, and I want
Peter Dinklage.
I want Peter Dinklage to play me, and I just want no reference to why he's playing me. That would be hilarious to me. I love that idea. Hello, Captain Mike. Good to see you. What else?
Wallace Shawn. Now I need to Google who that is.
I don't know who Wallace Shawn is.
We're Googling it, Tom.
Someone at the boat show said that I was the Brad Pitt of sailing.
Somebody did say that.
And I said, no, I'm more the Joker of sailing. What are the goals for the next refit? Okay, good. Thank you, Peter, for keeping me on track. So I fly back tomorrow to Malaysia. Oh, yes. Inconceivable. I fly back tomorrow to Malaysia, and then I think I'll haul out probably in a week at Reebok Marina. There's going to be a ton of episodes about the refit and everything that goes into it. I will be hauled out for a month at Reebok. Hopefully only a month. I will do sand and paint the bottom with bottom paint, replace all the zincs, check the rudder, do gel coat repair where I ran up on the coral reef, and check if I need to do, all that gel coat on the bottom. Needs a little bit of touch. I sand and paint the top sides and the decks. So all new paint on the whole boat, top and bottom. Down below, I'm going to sand and paint the whole inside, redo all the woodwork inside, or refresh everything, either teak oil, or I'm going to refinish the steps. I'm going to shorten the starboard settee to a single seat and build a built-in cabinet that gives me more counter space and also a place to do plotting that has a lid, and they'll be able to store my generator in there and sails and all kinds of stuff. That whole area, just the lead cloth is always up, and it's just always stuff piled over there. So I'd much rather it be visually more appealing and actually keep everything secure. I never use it anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and make it more functional. Now that I'm halfway around, I'm like, it's been long enough. I'm never going to use that as a half bed. I tried it once when Rhonda was on board. It didn't work. So I'm going to build in a cabinet there from really secure stowage. And then it gives me a ton more counter space. I'm going to have to get the engine refreshed, do all the batteries, all new Dakota lithium. I'm going to replace all the wiring from the solar panels because I know there's some loss because there's probably corrosion. So I'm going to just go ahead and put all new wiring for the solar panels. The autopilot, I have to install the brains of it, but otherwise it's just a drop in to what I already have. So that's not difficult. I'm going to have to make some kind of insert to really seal up underneath my cockpit seats. So my cockpit seats take in a lot of water on ocean passages because the cockpit fills up with water multiple times every passage. And the Indian Ocean is probably the most dangerous ocean I'm going to be in unless I go south. So it's like, I want to make sure that those cockpit seats are watertight so that no water gets in and down into the bilge in the Indian Ocean. So that's a big thing I have to sort out. I still don't know what to do about my chart plotter chart situation. Like Navionics, Garmin still have not released. Navionics and Garmin still have not released charts. So I have no charts for Malaysia and I have no charts for Thailand. I think I downloaded the charts for Thailand on my iPad. So when I get back, and that thing's always remained offline, but I don't recall what I have downloaded, but there's still no charts. I can't update a subscription. They still haven't released the charts, and it's been since July. So maybe since June, I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember.
So, and everybody was like, so many people were like busting my balls. Why don't you just use OpenCPN on an Android tablet? Like, idiot. I bought an Android tablet and downloaded it, and it wouldn't even let us zoom in on the charts. It crashed every time.
I'll go ahead and be a second set of, I will verify that it's not just James being super butthurt and grumpy. Like I'm a technical project manager for a living, and I was like,
for Intel,
surely this can't be that difficult. It was really bad.
Really maddening.
Like, short answer is it works fine. Like, you can definitely use it on a laptop. You definitely cannot use it on a mobile device. Period.
Yeah. No,
that's my takeaway.
And if you look at the reviews on the app, it's like full of negative reviews. So I tried to do that and I knew the OpenC. I've used it for almost 9 years now. It's so clunky. It's terrible. It's good for certain things. It's good for making satellite overview charts. All that stuff is great for. I've used it on my laptop forever. It works fine on the laptop. It's still a pain in the ass to download all the charts and everything, but
it's operable.
And it's a backup.
Yeah.
But now with no Navionics, I don't have a chart plotter. And like, I reached out to a number of different, like, sent cold emails to different electronics companies, and no one is like offered me an electronics sponsor. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, we'll see. And like, a lot of people are saying, well, what about Orca? Orca also doesn't have any charts for Southeast Asia. So Orca is cool. I think eventually when Orca gets charts for everywhere, they're going to be the standard. But, they don't have charts for South Africa either. But I wouldn't mind getting an Orca. They had talked to me. They had wanted to sponsor me two years ago. But then when I looked at their coverage, they had almost no worldwide coverage. So I was like, well, I can't really like get your product and be like, well, it doesn't work where I'm at, but look how cool it is. So I didn't work with them, but we'll see. They do have charts for the Maldives, for Mauritius, and for Madagascar. So maybe I'll see about trying to get one of those, but I still don't have anything for Thailand.
Colin asked if you had a proper chart plotter and not just your iPad Navionics.
I've never had a chart plotter, so I don't have any chart plotter.
No, but if you had that, could you still get the charts for that area of the
I
world?
think you can buy them if they're on a card, but I don't know. I have no idea. They just deleted all the charts. And we know why. It's because the Indonesian government is like trying to like strong arm Garmin into paying some absurd rate for the charts. And like if you go to the Garmin website, it shows that they've just cut Indonesia out and it just has the South China Sea and the Malacca Strait and part of the Indian Ocean, but you can't click it. So if you click it, it just goes infinite loop. You can't like buy it. So maybe eventually they'll have that, but I don't know when. They've been saying it would be available soon since July, and this is like
they said
October.
End of Q3, and we're well into Q4 now. So.
Yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do about charts at the moment, and that's the problem with like it's like so many of these Admiralty charts, the paper charts, they weren't updated, right? So they haven't been updated, and so you can't, especially in coral rich areas, like coral is rock that grows. So like, unless the charts are regularly updated, paper charts are only good I always have them for ocean crossings, because if everything went dark on my boat, I would still be able to plot. I have a sextant. I keep the almanac updated on my boat. So I would still be able to do DR and like celestial to get me to the next landfall, because, small scale is great for ocean stuff, but like large scale close in, it's tricky if it hasn't been updated. What else? Someone said, do you have a gift registry where you contribute to the cost of the refit? Sarah, can you post that? Oh, there you go. Sarah is on it. Peter, is that the Peter that came to the talk in the boat show? Please let us know.
Peter from Canada?
What else? Sorry if I'm missing stuff in the chat. I get on these rants. Someone said, how does your iPad and electronics hold up in the ocean? Any corrosion issues? Been pretty good. The iPad, I've went through so many phones. What happens is the charging port gets corrosion, but the iPads actually I haven't had an iPad fail. I bought a new one as like preventative maintenance. I don't remember when. Maybe in the spring. I don't remember, but one of the times I bought a new iPad just because I'm like, well, at some point it's going to die. But the thing I will say with charging the iPad, I always keep it hooked up to like the puck from my laptop. I use that big puck to keep and also keep the brightness turned down on the iPad. Otherwise that battery will slowly die and your stress level will just go up as the battery goes down. What else? Someone said, read Boatshow and in general, do you get sponsor offers often? My guess is you're keeping your sailing as lean, authentic financially rather than taking on deals. What's your take on this? Do you want more offers? I get asked to like promote people's products every day for years and years. Ever since my channel blew up, people are asking me, trying to send me like electric bikes and, and like trying to like sell their services and you name it. I even had, I swear to God, this is true. Someone tried to get me to do a video on my YouTube channel of a wraparound couch for a house. That was like the funniest thing. But I am extremely particular. I only work with brands that I believe in, and I only promote things that I believe in. So I turn down 99% of what I get, and actually I've only had a couple of people contact me. It's usually like I'll submit a proposal, and sometimes they say yes, and sometimes they say no. I think one of the few ones that said no was like Rain Man water maker. Back when I was in Hawaii, I tried to get a Rain Man water maker, and they wanted to sell it to me at full cost, and then they said for every 10,000 views, they would give me $1,000 back. I didn't have the money to pay full cost, so I couldn't get it. But yeah. But generally, I know like when I used to watch YouTube, when people would start hawking all kinds of stuff on their channel, it really put me off to the channel. So I don't want to do that. And it's not like I'm like made of money, like I run on fumes half the time. But I want to keep the integrity of my channel. That's just personally how I feel about it. So that's how I go about the business end of things. Another thing, like, well, Sophie had asked me about, what do you call it? About electric outboard. Like one of those big companies, I can't remember which one of the big outboard companies contacted me and said, we'll send you one, but they wanted like 2 full-length videos on YouTube, and like they wanted like 6 different videos that in different lengths on my channel for one outboard. And I was like, that is madness. Yeah, and no money. They weren't going to give me any money. They were just going to give me product, and then wanted like an absurd amount of content. I was like, there's no way. I was like, I don't know any channel that would do that much content for one piece of kit. It's just like super, all it does is like really put off your audience. So yeah. So I'm just really particular. Someone said Rolly Tasker haven't rung yet. I've been working with Rolly Tasker for 3 years. Yeah, they've been my sponsor a long time. I'm actually the one that got Holly sponsored with Rolly Tasker. Someone says, who was it you go through to buy your batteries? I'm sponsored by Dakota Lithium for my batteries. What else? Any more? Oh yeah, is that?
You want something?
No, that tea.
Here.
No, I'm gonna get one of these things. Talk to the camera for me.
Hi, camera. Apologize to everyone because I'm not an aspiring YouTuber. I don't.
Victoria is definitely like not trying to be a content creator. That's exactly that's exactly what it's like trying to get her to stay on camera.
Hi, Peter. It was so nice meeting you at the show.
What else? Oh, I know what else. That's one of the whole reasons I'm doing this live today. I have another Zoom class. This is to announce my Zoom class that's coming up on going cruising. I'm going to be doing a 2+ hour class on, I think, November 9th. Sarah, can you post a link to the Big Cartel Shop? So I'll be doing I did the anchoring class back in February of 24, which went very well. And I'm doing one on making the cruising dream a reality. So we're going to talk about 3 different subjects. We're going to talk about like, preparing to leave, making it happen. The hardest part is like untying the lines and actually setting off. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about your first year of cruising, planning your cruising ground, how to fund it, different ideas on how to fund it, how to make your dollar last, what it costs me to go cruising, that sort of thing. And then we're going to talk about long-term cruising. So, whether you plan on going open-ended, whether you're going to be doing part-time cruising, full-time cruising, different sort of formats that you can do, like managing your stress when it comes to like this life can be very stressful.
MJ's question right now. How do you manage the stress that comes with it? That's
yeah. So I'm going to be answering that in that. A lot of things that I've learned over the last year, because originally I thought my circumnavigation was going to last 3.5 years. Well, I'm past year 4 and I'm into year 5 now. So I learned a ton. I made a lot of mistakes. I had a lot of things break. I've had to figure out, I've gotten stuck in places I didn't want to get stuck at. I decided to stay in New Zealand for a year because I could. So there's a lot of things to think about. So I'll be giving this class and you can buy a ticket. Sarah just posted it in the live chat, and we'll also put the link to that in the description of this live. So if you're seeing this after the live is done, it'll be down in the description as well. So anyone who joined the anchoring class, then you know the format. There's going to be slides and then talking about, all these different subjects. They'll have a curriculum. There'll also be a PDF that has like pretty much everything I'm talking about with links and stuff that you can download and reference. I'll even be explaining like how to clear into foreign countries and how to research that and things to think about that I didn't know. And then at the end, it's going to be an open-ended Q&A as long as we all want to hang out. So, and you can ask any question related to anything at the end of the Q&A, and we can, touch on that. So anyone interested in taking my cruising class, all the money, I'm doing the cruising class to help pay for my refit. So that's why I put it together. And I think I'll be hauled out. So I'll be doing the refit probably from Triteia on the hard. So if you'd like to hear about all the things in detail that I've learned, if you're nervous about, you really want to do it, or even you're working towards it and you just like, you're really, anxious about certain things, like we're going to go deep. So.
And yeah, somebody asked, will the class be recorded in case folks can't make it? It will. So if, James, some folks have asked, will you do a GoFundMe? He won't do that. He'd love to trade his knowledge and offer some value. If you'd love to contribute to his refit, I think signing up and buying a ticket for that class is a great way to do that. And if you can't make it to the live course, it'll be available. The slides and a recording of the course will be available afterwards.
Yep. So everyone that takes a class gets a link after it's all processed and uploaded to the Google Drive. You'll get a link to the full thing so you can watch it as many times as you want. And right now in my thing, I went ahead and made the archive class from the anchoring. That's also available, so people can purchase that as the archive. Yeah. So, and eventually that the class will be an archive for sale archive as well. But it won't be for a couple months after to encourage people to take the actual class so that we can have like a one-on-one dialogue in the class. Someone said, hey, James, Dave from Kona here, picked up a centerboard Pearson 35. Do you think that boat for a 4-month run down to French Poly? Absolutely. For sure. Yeah, you'd be good. No problem. Just make sure you leave March, April. I would say if you're leaving from Kona, I sailed from Kailua, Kona to the Tuamotus, and that first 9 days was the worst 9 days of sailing I've ever experienced in my entire life. It was hell. It was hell. And I have like 23,000 passage miles in my wake on different boats. And I've never experienced anything as miserable as those 9 days. So I think you could, if you want to point for Tahiti, it'll be an easier push than if you point for the Tuamotus. If you point for the Marquesas, good luck to you. There's no way I could have ever made the Marquesas. So, but yeah, you'll be great. Pearson 35. Even coming back, Hokulea, just follow the Hokulea route. Look at what the Hokulea did. Come back on their route. You just got to point. You'll have a lot of beating once you get above the equator. And also know that on that, if you sail from Kona to the French Polynesia, that once you get out of the northern hemisphere and through the doldrums, the seas are much more polite. So the currents are not as strong in the southern hemisphere, and the trade winds aren't nearly as brutal as they are in the northern hemisphere. So it gets easier the further south you go on that passage. Someone said, just want to say you look happy together. Thank you for your videos. Thank you. We have, that's a good segue actually. Sarah, will you post, there's like in the link thing, the secret episode of us sailing. Victoria took me sailing on her laser and we sailed up really close to a nuclear sub here in San Diego. And we did like a secret episode that we put up for the patrons and stuff. So
I made James a little nervous and he was like, no, we're getting too close. And I was like, I don't have a VHF. Like, am I? I don't know. They'll come tell us.
She got way closer than I would have. So there's the thank you, Sarah. Sarah just posted it. That's like a secret episode that's not open to the public. It's just like a fun little thing. That was the first time I ever went on laser. We had a blast.
And for anyone not familiar, lasers are not built for two people.
No.
Like at all.
We're both fun size. That worked out. When will you write a book? I think that could be something that humanity would enjoy for generations. I've written 3 sailing books so far. You can find those on my website under publications or in my shop that Sarah was posting. I have the Hawaiian Adventures book is almost done and I will self-publish that next year. Thank you, Andy. I have a couple of very big books that's too early to talk about. That news will come soon. So yeah, some really next year. That's all I'll say. Next year will be a good year for people wanting to read my books. What else?
Do you need special paperwork to sail from Washington to Hawaii?
No, you don't need any paperwork because it's a U.S. state. Oh, and I think Colin asked why it was so gnarly. Yeah, you're beating hard into the trade winds, Colin. And actually, when I was sailing, right after I left is when this massive swell from a big storm came from the Southern Ocean. And it was the biggest swell. It like destroyed houses on the Big Island. So it was like these huge breakers that were destroying houses and all this stuff. And I was sailing through all that stuff. And I was like, man, this is really mean. And I didn't know any of this was taking place because it was like, I didn't know till I got to the Tuamotus about what had happened in Hawaii. Someone said, do you have any recommended reading list? Yes, Sarah can post the books link. Boy, Sarah's really busy. Oh, look at that. How quick she is. Man, she is on it. We just had lunch with Sarah, like, I don't know, 4 hours ago in Laguna Beach. Like she drove, we met halfway and had lunch, went down to the ocean, and then both of us barely made it back in time, us to San Diego and then Sarah to LA to get on this live chat. What's your first ocean experience? My first ocean experience was sailing, like proper offshore stuff, was sailing the Bermuda Triangle from Puerto Rico to Bermuda to North Carolina.
Casual.
That was your first too, huh? Bermuda to the Azores?
My first ocean, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. Thank you, MJ. Appreciate that. Thank you. Says lasers are better than a sunfish for 2.
Sunfish was what I grew up sailing on, and they're so good. I love them.
Did you ever sail up the coast to Washington? I delivered like a 74-foot power yacht from Seattle all the way down to LA in 2019, I think.
But that's a more fun direction than going up to Washington.
No, if I was going to Washington, I would just sail on. I would probably sail to Hawaii and then to Washington if I was coming from the West Coast. Regarding phones, a thought just popped in my head. Have you thought about experimenting using dielectric grease? Use it a lot in the industry. I use it a lot on all the electronics on the boat, but I've never put it in my charging port just because it's so messy.
Might not be a bad idea.
Probably would work. That stuff. I definitely keep that stuff on the boat and keep it lathered on all the stuff that's like more moist. But it's amazing. Like just the salt in the air anything that's not stainless just starts to rust. It is crazy. Someone says, what are your plans after South Africa? Sarah, will you post that possible route link? I had planned on going through the canal, but now they're charging $4,000 for every boat under 65 feet, regardless of your tonnage. It's $4,000. And this is like, this came to me from people that just went through and paid $4,000. I will never pay $4,000 to go through the canal. So we'll see. Might have to go that long way. Cape Horn to starboard. That's always actually been on the plate. It's always been, I've always said, once I get to Brazil, then I'll make that decision. After the Indonesia thing, where I had so many failures from the wild, and I was pretty like frazzled. I was like, okay, I'm not going to do Cape Horn. As soon as I said that, then sure enough, I find out the canal's $3,000 or $4,000. Insane. It was $2,000 2 years ago, and it was $1,200 when I left in 2021. So it's just criminal. Sarah just posted that possible route. Someone said, would you sail north up the coast of Greenland and Iceland? Yes, I sailed. I did that with 59 North. It's so funny when Andy Shell asked me if I wanted to do that with 59 North. We sailed from Newfoundland to Greenland. We cruised Greenland for 5 days and then on to Iceland. In my mind, I was like, oh, cool. I'll do it on Falcon. Then I don't have to ever do it on my boat because that's like a big boat and it's like well equipped. No, all I did was like, oh, I have to come here on my own boat someday and spend like a full season because Greenland is just like, I wouldn't sail on to Iceland though. I would cruise Greenland, but I wouldn't sail to Iceland. Iceland has very few safe anchorages. I would cruise Greenland and then sail from Greenland to Ireland if I was going to do it in my boat. What else? How long have we been on here?
Long time.
We're doing good. 126. We got 155 people. Hello, everyone. I'm proud of Victoria for staying on this long. Thought she was going to try to duck out.
I did. I might still. Don't I have to make us pasta?
It's true. What's the best time of year to sail from the West Coast to Hawaii? And would I have to wait there until the following year to return? Andy, sailing so late, Andy, will you chime in as to when you guys sailed back from Hawaii? Sailing to Hawaii, ideally you want to go in like March or April. Hurricane season starts in June. So it's not great to go after June. I think I went in August and I had a hurricane like tracking me. Hurricane Linda, I think is the name of it. And it could have turned up into me at any point. So it was really stupid for me to go in August, but my life was in shambles and I had already tried to attempt to go in July or in June, actually. So I just went in August, but I wouldn't advise going during hurricane season. But yeah, you can go if you're sailing back. That's the thing. If you're sailing from the West Coast to Hawaii and then you sail back to West Coast, you can do it in 1 year. You can't sail to Hawaii and then make it to French Polynesia. I can't speak on if you're sailing to Hawaii and then continuing on to the French Frigate Shoals and Midway and Guam. I've never researched, so I can't speak to I know the typhoons happen year round near Japan, so I can't speak to that because I don't have any knowledge of that. But Andy and them, he sailed with Mark and they sailed, I can't remember how long it took them, a long time. It's like 3,000 miles. If you're sailing from Hawaii, you go up above the Pacific High and then you got to sail down to Southern California. It was like 3,000 miles. And like they got to the Pacific High and then the high moved like 200 miles above them. So they couldn't even get above it. So then they had a hell of a time. I was watching them on the tracker every day and I was like so bummed for them. Any more questions? Colin, will you post a link to your YouTube channel? Colin had his passage video. He sailed solo on a Triton from San Francisco. Well, he started in Seattle, sailed down to San Francisco, and then he sailed San Francisco to Hawaii. That passage film of his from San Francisco to Hawaii went viral, and he got 1 million views in 30 days. It took my Hawaii passage video 2 months to hit 1 million. So I was super stoked to watch his video go on a tear. Really stoked for him. So Colin, if you'll share the link to your channel in the chat, that would be awesome. John, I said Tritons are teeny. I know, and Colin was just crushing it. He was doing crazy speeds on that boat. I was really impressed. What sort of additions would you need to make your boat to Greenland or Cape Horn? Heater, water maker? No, I have a forced air diesel heater already installed on Triteia that I had bought for the Aleutians because I'd planned on sailing. Originally, I was going to sail to Hawaii and I was going to sail the Aleutians and do Alaska. So I already have a forced air diesel heater that I fully hooked up when I was in New Zealand because it got pretty cold. But I don't have to do any additions to do Cape Horn at all. I set my boat up before I left to do serious wild stuff. So yeah, but well, it's like, what's going to be broken by the time I get to Cape Horn? That's the real question. Someone said, V brings a welcome dynamic to your channel. Her presence makes you more relatable. FYI. Thank you very much.
Why, thank you. I started making pasta, but I'm still listening.
She's still listening. What else? Diesel cook stoves are awesome. Very useful. Use very little fuel. The diesel forced air heaters are rad. I would say that from my experience of like mine, I bought the Russian version, which is the planner or whatever. So I spent like $1,200 on mine. But everyone I know that got the Chinese ones, they've had like they've worked perfectly. So I think that the cheap, really affordable Chinese ones, I don't know anyone that's had one fail. I haven't heard any bad stories. So you can get a really cheap Chinese version. And it seems like those things, and they're so cheap, you could just buy 2. They're like really affordable. Oh, she put up Colin's link. Sarah's on it. Thanks, Sarah. So yeah, you guys go to Colin's channel for me and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Let me see here. I'm going to post Andy's because I don't know, maybe he already posted and I missed it in the thing. But here's Andy's thing. It was processing when we started this live chat. But that's Sailing Soleil, dear friend of mine, Andy, Southern California. We saw him in Annapolis. He filmed an episode in Annapolis. And I didn't really film an episode. So someone's asking about how me and Victoria met. We met through Instagram. And then when I came out to do my speaking tour in the spring, we got coffee and we've been together ever since. Someone found Colin through Jerome. I like Jerome a lot. Jerome. Really good dude. What else? Any more questions? We're still good for about half an hour. I start to lose my voice around the 2-hour mark. Boy, there haven't been very many UFO questions or flat earth questions. We are really slipping tonight. MJ said, do you wake up every 15 minutes while on land? Or are you getting some good sleep? Serious question. When I first come off the boat and sleep on land, I have a really hard time adjusting to sleeping on land. I slept the most of the time I've been here. I got really good sleep. But the anxiety and the stress of like the refit and money and all that stuff I've been having a lot of trouble sleeping the last, like, since we got back from the boat show. I've been having a lot of trouble sleeping. But I'll get back to the boat and get hauled out and just get it done. It'll be fine. Oh yeah, so broken tow rails. I got to repair my tow rails. Yeah, but I found some wood at the boat yard, so I'll be able to do that. What else? Any more questions? Why were you so nervous about sailing through the shipping channel in Singapore? My boat does like 3.5 knots of speed, and there were 70. I counted 72 ships in the shipping lane, both anchored and moving. And the AIS was such a clusterfuck that you couldn't actually make sense of anything. So it was just chaos. So like it was almost useless unless you zoomed in to like a quarter mile, and then it's like those boats are doing 10 to 11 knots. So there's no way I can get out of their way. They can't get out of my way because they can't divert course because there's anchored ships on one side and then there's shoals on the other side. So super stressful, Singapore Strait. So glad I did it in the daytime. Oh, good. Christopher, he humored me on the flat earth thing. Super funny. Says, can you talk about how you built confidence through experience for big wins, sea state? Thanks, folks. Be able to handle the challenging conditions when they do come. So, well, for me is I made sure, and I went out sailing. I volunteered as crew on yacht deliveries for years before I did any solo stuff. So I sailed with tons of captains. I asked a billion questions, like sailed through really scary squalls in the North Atlantic from Bermuda or from Puerto Rico to Bermuda, and learned how to do forereaching, lightning everywhere, really scary stuff with a captain who was like stone cold, perfect. Like, knew he had done the passage so many times. So I got to sit with him and he like talked me through what we were doing. He would let me on the helm when we're forereaching through squalls. So I think good seamanship is like getting on boats, volunteering, paying for like, proper, like going out with 59 North and getting proper sail training. Get on boats, get experience from people who know how to do it. That's good seamanship. This like fake it till you make it stuff does my head in. So, I put in 4 years of like refit, cruising myself, and also going on other boats to learn how to go, ocean sailing before I ever left solo. So to me, that's the most important thing is like you get out there, you experience it with someone who knows what they're doing, and it brings a lot of that down for you. I do have like, I remember my first Hawaii attempt, I left in conditions I should have never left in. And Captain Noah Pepper tried to talk me out of it. He tried to get me to, he was like, sail to Cat Harbor and rest for like 2 days, wait till the winds drop below 30 knots. I went out in like 30 to 35 knots. And my idea was like, okay, well, I want to go out in these conditions because if there's something going to break, I want it to break soon. And then, I can come back because the boat was like freshly refit. This was in like June of 2021. So I left, and those first couple days in like 30 knots, I was terrified. I thought the boat was going to break apart. Like the sounds the boat was making were so scary that I was like, how can she withstand this? Like, how is it possible that this boat is going to break into pieces? She was fine. I was reefed down. I had the sails, adjusted as they should be. The sounds were like unnerving and everything. Once I got through that, I got 250 miles offshore and my wind vane stripped out. The bolts had started stripping out, and the wind vane, it wasn't the hydro vane. It was a vintage Sailboat. So I accomplished exactly what I wanted to accomplish. That thing broke. And so I had to turn around and sail back to Southern California to repair my wind vane. So it was like a 500-mile round trip. I was heartbroken about the whole thing. I was really disappointed. So disappointed. And again, Captain Noah Peffer was like, he's like, you just did the exact miles that they make people do that are going to do the solo transpac. He was like, that's like the miles they make someone do to qualify for the solo transpac. He was like, just look at it as like an extended sea trial, which is what it was. But the interesting thing about going through that sailing in 30 knots like that was that I never heard the boat. The boat never sounded like that to me again. And so the bar had been raised so high for me because I had experienced it and I knew that those sounds didn't damage the boat, that the next time I was in 30, actually sailing from Fiji to New Zealand, I was regularly in 40 to 45 knots. And I never, ever questioned if the boat was going to break apart. And like none of the sounds alarmed me. None of the sounds scared me because I knew what she was capable of. So going through that experience raised the bar for me to where I'm like, okay, well, now I know that that's normal. And everything's going to be fine. So that's probably a point where I would say that that's something I lived through that gave me more confidence and made things easier and less stressful the more I sailed. Hello, Robin. Good to see you on here. What else? Let me see. I'll try to scroll back here for a second. What do you think about an Arid 33 for blue water cruising, Australia to the Pacific Islands and New Zealand? I don't know that boat, so I can't really, I apologize. I can't speak to it. I don't know that boat. So someone said, kind of a random question, but I'm considering replacing my A34 hatch with a Lumar like you did. Is there anything you would do differently? No, George, do it. It is you'll be so stoked. It is like, it lets so much more light in the V-berth and it like actually seals all the water out. Like, and I did that whole video that shows you the whole process of me sawzawing the hatch out and everything. You'll be stoked. Replace it with that, that trapezoid Lumar and you will be really stoked on it. Somebody else said, I just picked up an Alberg 30 hull 577. Triteia is hull number 55. Any changes, upgrades, or pieces of kit you'd recommend as must-haves? Mine will be mostly used as a day sailor or weekend trips up the coast of Newfoundland. If you're not, I mean, the thing I would say is for sure, especially up in those latitudes, you need to, the chain plate bolts are known to be undersized, so you need to replace those with bigger bolts. Check the chain plates out, check your, at that late of a number, 577, you probably have like the deck beams probably secured. Other than that, they're good. Like Alberg 30s will, like I always say, they'll take you anywhere you're brave enough to go. So yeah, sounds like you got a good boat for that zone. All right. What else? Someone said, have you ever had any problems with orcas? Orcas are only a problem at one place in the entire world off the coast of Portugal. I've had orcas. I've sailed with orcas surfaced right next to me, swimming with the boat for an hour off Point Conception in Southern California. I had like 5 orcas with me in the Hauraki Gulf in New Zealand, just outside Auckland Harbor. Orcas are fantastic, amazing, smart creatures. There's only one pod that have beef with boats, and they're off the coast of Portugal. Good to see you, Colin. What else? How are we doing here? Thank you, MJ. Appreciate that. Someone said they had a Cascade 29, 2 of which circumnavigated. Like I always tell people always write me and they're like, oh, can I do this on this boat? And I always say, you can go over Niagara Falls in a barrel. Doesn't mean you should, but a lot is possible. What else? 159 people. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. What else? Any more questions? Thank you, Sarah, again for posting all the links and troll hunting. Appreciate it. Do you ever encounter pirates, or do you stay away from high-risk areas? Sarah, will you post the video to piracy? Pirates only exist in very specifically known spots in the world that are very easy to avoid. They're not nearly as big of a problem as people think they are. There's actually piracy in the Malacca Strait, but for cargo ships. There's like no recordings of private yachts ever being boarded. But when you go into the Malacca Strait, you get a thing on your AEST that says warning about piracy. But they basically come up with these local boats. They'll go up, scale the side of the cargo ship at night and like steal stuff out of containers. They don't like take hostages or anything. But so there's a video. I did a whole video because I get asked about pirates a lot. I did a whole video in a mini series talking about like piracy versus bandits, like real security concerns versus like imaginary security concerns. So that goes into detail about my thoughts and views on boat security and piracy. Someone said, what kind of barrel do I recommend for going over Niagara Falls? Probably one with shoulder straps is my guess. Speaking of which, did you guys see that Catalina Yachts is like going bankrupt and closing down? I just saw that news the other day. Shocking. Speaking of barrels, what else? Something were to start breaking down on ocean crossings or remote areas. What are your emergency procedures? That's like kind of too abstract of a question. Tons of things break on every passage. The only thing that's a real absolute deal breaker is fire or sinking. Everything else, you can kind of find a way around it. Even dismasting, you can put up a jury rig. So many yachts have done it, and rig up your sails sideways and like drift, eventually reach land. So really fire and sinking are the only kind of like, in my mind, the only things that are completely like you're kind of toasted. Do you haul up anchor manually or do you stay in shape? Why not upgrade? To stay in shape. I don't have an electric windlass because I can't afford the type of windlass that does free fall. The windlass big enough for my boat where it has free fall. That's my standard. It has to have a free fall so I can just turn a clutch and the anchor spills all the way to the seabed immediately. And it has to have an option to do it manually. And I can't afford that. They're super expensive. The Lumar low Franz ones that have the free fall are really expensive. So that's why I don't have an electric windlass. Also, like all of my heroes sailed for years and didn't have electric windlasses. They're just a luxury. Especially a boat as small, a 30-foot boat. So if you're on like a 50-foot boat with a giant anchor, then obviously, you would want them. Otherwise, you're like hand cranking a manual, But yeah, for me, it's just a matter of, I would never own a windlass where you have to push a button and it slowly goes down really slow to the seafloor. Because I've been in too many situations where there was like high wind. I was trying to anchor and I was going to be blown over onto rocks or onto a coral reef or something. And you had to get that boat down and set immediately for safety of the boat. And being solo, you can't be at the back driving the boat into the wind, and at the bow at the same time. So I would never have one that you just slowly motored down. Carl said a barrel with a shoulder straps and Starlink with Netflix. Go for it. You know what I mean? You can get a RAM mount for your iPad so you can binge watch like Handmaid's Tale. MJ asks about hearing voices. Yeah, so every solo sailor I know, we've talked about this, I've had tons of aural hallucinations. So hearing voices or hearing what sounds like AM radio, like music on AM radio, but you can't place it. It's not like you're just like replaying music. It's like music you've never heard. Or the other sound that I'll hallucinate is it sounds like you're in a really crowded restaurant where there's tons of like voices talking and you can't make out any of the dialogue. And there's like glasses clanking and stuff like that. So that's the most common. What I believe is taking place is I think that there's so much sound that your mind is trying to organize it. And so it's just like, okay, this is what we think this sound is supposed to be. There's only one, the spookiest one I ever had was like at night, the winds were getting up. I was forward at the mast trying to reef. I think I was sailing between Bora Bora and American Samoa. And I'm at the mast reefing and it's like really howling. And I heard my own voice from the cockpit say, fuck. And I stopped and looked to the cockpit and I had chills on my whole body. It was so spooky. I was like, and then I just shook it off and like finished reefing. That was the spookiest one. What else? What else? About to finish university. Any advice for a young person looking to get into sailing? I should be able to get a remote job after a few years, just not sure where to start besides saving and investing. Luke Wallace, I have a whole mini series on my YouTube channel that is about exactly what you're asking about. It'll tell you everything from like how to get experience to like you name it. There's like 5 episodes and it's geared exactly for people that don't know where to start. So go to my YouTube channel. There's a playlist called Mini Series and watch all of those videos. Someone said, have I seen any mermaids? No, because I would be dead and wouldn't be talking to you. Because I'd try to slow dance with them and sink to Davy Jones's locker. I'm getting scolded now. What else? You must get lonely at times. How do you encounter that on long passages? I never get lonely at sea. I love, love, love solo ocean sailing. I find it so much more enjoyable than sailing with crew. It is a remarkable experience. I actually get lonely cruising in beautiful places. Like I think the worst I had it was in Fiji. Was cruising around Fiji alone because it had been like a long season already. And it was so cool and beautiful there. I really wanted someone to turn to and be like, can you believe how amazing this is? And so that got really lonely cruising in beautiful places. But ocean sailing, I never get lonely. I love it. Big fan. All right, we got, how are we doing on when's dinner almost? No, I'm just timing wise.
I'm waiting for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I think we'll wrap it up in like 7 minutes because then it's 2 hours. Someone, Andrew asked, where am I heading after Southeast Asia? So next year's program is, oh, Brian Wilson, what up? What up? Next year's program is sailing from Phuket at the end of January, beginning of February to Maldives, Maldives to Chagos, Chagos to Mauritius, Mauritius to Reunion. If Madagascar's coup is stabilized, then I'll go to the North Cape of Madagascar for like a full month and a half, and then sail to South Africa. I have to leave Thailand by the end of January, and I have to be in South Africa weather-wise for both of these. Weather-wise, I have to be in South Africa by the beginning of October. So next year is the Indian Ocean, and that's the route. What else? How do you get mail, or are you just not necessary for you? Yeah, you can't really get mail when you're cruising, which is like actually been a big problem for like my sponsors and stuff, because there were some things I was supposed to get in Australia and the timing never worked out, and I was like pushing, like, so when I was going to land somewhere, the timing never worked out. So it's really a challenge, and even getting mail is a nightmare. So like I lost my wallet in the Cairns River in Australia, and so we got stuck waiting at Thursday Island for 3 weeks. We get delayed by almost a month waiting for a new debit card and a replacement license to come in. And it cost me, I think it was like $200 $175 or something to ship 2 debit cards to from LA to Thursday Island. And then it didn't come. It was like we paid for like the express, and we waited for 3 weeks. It really delayed us. So getting mail, it's just such a nightmare. What else? Someone said, do you get internet connection out at sea? No, I don't believe anyone should have full internet in the ocean. Are you planning on getting a portable freezer? I'm going to try to get my fridge repaired as soon as I get back. I have a technician lined up that's going to come see if he can just recharge my fridge. If my fridge can't be repaired, I'm going to buy one of those cheap little 12-volt ones. Just because I don't have $1,200 to buy a new fridge setup. Isotherm. How many days, weeks, a year are you on land versus sea on the boat? Depends on the year. This year, I only had to do 2,000 miles, and I had to battle. I sailed from one wet season into another wet season. So, yeah, I was on land more doing business stuff this year than normal. Next year, I won't be on land very much at all because I'm going to be crossing the Indian Ocean. So it just depends on the year. What is the most important refit item you have on the boat coming up? Important. Well, replacing the house bank, the Dakota Lithium, new Dakota Lithiums. I have no house batteries at the moment. So that's the most important, is getting the electronics all sussed out and like back and happy after the near lightning strike toasted everything. Secondly would be the bottom job, which is always necessary. Robin said, yay for ghee and your homemade bread. Yeah, ghee is very handy to have on boats. That's for sure. Especially if you don't have a freezer, a fridge. Someone said, what do you mean you only had to sail 2,000 miles? Well, because I got stuck in Indonesia last year. So you have to sail by the weather, by the seasons. So I left Lombok, Indonesia in May. June 1st is when the wet season ended, really, for Indonesia this year. And so from June 1st, I could only make it up to Malaysia this year, and then I had to wait. So as soon as by the time I got to Malaysia, then I had sailed back into the wet season, but in a different part of the wet season. So then I couldn't, that's why I came back for this month, because I couldn't do all the painting and everything because the boat it's raining and storming regularly there. So you have to do it based on the monsoons. And since I didn't make it up to Malaysia last year, if I had made it to Malaysia last year like I'd planned on, then I would be crossing the Indian Ocean right now. Actually, I would be arriving to Africa right now. A couple of my friends they're like a day away from Durban or Richards Bay. So I should have crossed the Indian Ocean this year, but since I got stuck in Indonesia, I only had to sail 2,000 miles. I couldn't sail any more than 2,000 miles this year because I knew I had to do a refit in Malaysia. So that's what I meant by that. Someone said, where am I at now? I'm in San Diego, but I fly back to Malaysia tomorrow. What else? All right, we got 2 more minutes. Any final questions? And then I have to eat dinner. I'm dying. Someone said, I must have missed it. When do you think you'll be in South Africa? I'll be in South Africa. I have to be there by the beginning of October. So beginning of October next year. And I'll be there until January or February of the following year. Because again, that's when the cyclone season. So you have to kind of hole up in South Africa, but I'll go on some safaris and, try to ride lions and whatnot. Someone said, guess she isn't joining you this time. No, I'll be doing the circumnavigation still solo, but Victoria will join me for cruising different places. Sarah, will you post the route? TM is asking about it. What are we having for dinner?
We're having rigatoni with a red sauce and some vegan sausage.
Victoria lived in Italy for 4 years and even did a grad program in Italian. She's fluent in Italian.
We eat a lot of pasta. That's the main takeaway.
Someone said, when will you be in Thailand? I will be in Thailand the first part of December. I'll be there all of December and all of January. And I'll be seeing Sam Holmes soon. Sam's been texting me. He said he saw Triteia the other day. He was at Reebok with his new boat. But he's somewhere around there. But he said he'll see me when I get back.
Thanks, Robin.
Someone said a long haul to the Maldives. It's not that far at all. Not compared to the split I've done before. Like anything around 1,100 miles is like dreamy because it's only like 10 days. Good luck with your academy there, JT. That'll be good. It'd be cool to drive those big boats. I'd love to be like a tugboat captain. I think that'd be really fun.
That'd be badass.
Oh, Misty says hello to
Hi,
Victoria.
Misty.
I posted Andy's video of the Annapolis boat show, which Victoria's on. I don't know if there's any footage of me on it, but if I didn't really shoot an episode of Annapolis because it was crazy, but go to Sailing Soleil. I just posted the link in the chat and watch his episode if you guys want to see what Annapolis was like, because it was wild.
It was nutty.
All right. We're at the 2-hour mark. And I need to eat because I'm dying. Thanks so much for everyone who tuned in. Thanks for any of the East Coasters. I know it's late over there. I try to time it, but thanks everyone. You guys are fantastic. Great community. Appreciate everyone who donated to the cause. And again, if you want to take my class, my cruising class, it's coming up in 3 weeks. You can find the link. It's in my shop. I don't know if it's on my website or not yet.
And Sarah posted it.
Sarah posted it in the chat. I'll put it in the description of this live. So I'll be teaching a class on cruising. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a wonderful night, and we're going to go eat. Thank you, Sarah. Really appreciate it. Oh, Gigi says bye.
Bye.